Hi students, welcome to your lesson 12 video for today. We're going to be discussing the decline of the Inca Empire. So boys and girls, we're becoming very close to the end of our unit, and throughout this lesson we're going to be talking about the decline of the Inca Empire. Boys and girls, this is our last empire, last civilization that we're going to talk about. Remember, the beginning of our lesson, we began talking about, at the beginning of our unit, we talked about the Maya civilization. And a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago, we talked about the Aztec Empire. Now we're on our very last empire, which is the Inca Empire and civilization. So let's dive in to see what we're going to be learning today. Okay, boys and girls, so this is your reading. So your primary focus, what we're going to be discussing, and our center point of this lesson is we're going to summarize the reasons for the decline of the Inca Empire and explain the role of Francisco Pizarro in the fall of the powerful civilization. So last lesson we talked about the rise of birth of the Inca. So we're going to figure out throughout this lesson and be able to summarize the reason why they declined or why the empire came to an end. It's very important that we kind of review just what we talked about these previous chapters and what we read. So we've already read, like I just said, the Inca and the previous, we already read about them in the birth of the Inca Empire in chapter 7 of our reading. And now we're on chapter 8. We're going to talk about the decline. And also, you remember our big question from our last lesson was how did the Inca Empire become the largest and most powerful pre-Columbian empire? And it was several things. First, they had a lot of land, a lot of resources. They had a lot of commoners, and these commoners, they made food, and they were able to pay tribute. The government had good resources and services. And they had a very organized government with strict rules. And guys, you remember they had their messengers, and they had a superior network of roads. Remember, they had one of the longest roads in the pre-Columbian empire. So they had a lot of factors played to it. And that's why they were so successful and one of the most powerful empires. So we always begin talking about our big question of our lesson. So our question this time that we're going to be focusing on as we read today, chapter 8, what are the key causes of the decline of the powerful Inca Empire? So we know all of the things that played a part in why it was so successful. Well, as we read chapter 8, we're going to learn what were the things that made it decline or come to an end. And by the end, we'll be able to, and you guys will be able to type your answer. And remember, if you see the red outline, that means it's something that you're going to have to complete and type in. And it has type your answer here. So let's start reading. Boys and girls, also this is a link here where you can, after this video, go back and read it for yourself. So let's begin our reading. It's chapter 8, All Roads Leads to Cuzco. And by the 1500s, the Inca Empire included present-day Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru, and parts of Colombia, Chile, and Argentina. This long, narrow empire extended from the north to the south along the western coast of South America. It was home to some of the world's driest deserts and highest mountain peaks. The captain of the Inca Empire was Cuzco. The name Cuzco means navel of the world. That's one of our vocabulary words. All the roads led to Cuzco, and it was indeed the center of the Inca world. According to legend, Manco Capac, the first Samba Inca, founded Cuzco around 1200 CE. Cuzco was a city filled with we're here on this next page. Impressive stone buildings. The Inca were master stonemasons. They used huge stone blocks tightly fitted together to build palaces, temples, and government buildings. They did not use mortar to hold the stones in place. Okay, boys and girls, we're going to stop right here and continue our reading when we come back.